Hello everybody, welcome to my new series of videos on how to catch pike. So if you've never caught a pike before, you've never been pike fishing, if you're a bit worried about the tackle, things like that that you need to know about, then hopefully this little series is going to help. First of all, we're going to be looking at bait fishing for pike, so that's live bait and dead bait fishing. The traces, the tackle that you need, rods, reels, line, floats, alarms, everything. We're going to go right from the most simple traces to make up yourself and then see how it goes from there. So hopefully this will help. Now I'm going to show you how to make a simple trace for fishing for pike. So that's using two trebles on a wire trace. All pike fishing should be done with a wire trace. Don't go fishing for pike if you haven't got one. Pike have teeth, they'll bite through your line, and if you deep hook a pike and it goes off with hooks in its mouth, it's all bad news. So always use a wire trace for pike fishing. Things you will need are some pike wire. This is Drennan E-Sox, £40. It's a coated stainless steel pike wire. It's very good, 7 strand. It does the business. Also, some trebles. Personally, I use barbed trebles. If you're only starting out, then perhaps it's a good idea to use semi-barbed trebles. So only one of the hooks on the treble has a barb on it. The other two are barbless. The one that has the barb on it goes into the fish, into your bait fish, and the other two are left to hook the pike. The ones I'm using here are Owner ST36 size 4 barbed trebles. Owner are very good hooks. I prefer to use these for just about everything. They're great. You will also need some crimps. I bought these from eBay. I had a great big bag full of them and they cost pence. So get some of those. A pair of pliers for crimping. These also came from eBay, but Fox do them, I think Grays do one. They're very easy to come by. Get some of those. Swivels. These are size 8 quarter swivels. I use these swivels for carp rigs, pike rigs, everything. And I find them to be the right size for when you want to push a soft bead over them and things like that, and they fit inside leg clips, and so size 8 swivels, very good. And then also you will need something to cut the wire with, so be that a pair of good decent scissors or wire cutters, whatever you've got that will cut the wire. Okay, so now we are actually tying the trace. Here I've got my £40 wire, and the first thing I want to do is put a crimp on. So I just thread the crimp onto the wire. Some people like to tie the trebles onto the wire. Some people like to crimp it. Personally, I'm a crimper, so I'll crimp the bottom treble on, and then I'll show you how to tie the top treble on. So crimps on the wire, then you thread on your treble. The wire then goes back up through the crimp in order to make a loop like this. And then, because there's a little bit of extra room left in this crimp, I just like to bring the tag end and push it back down into the crimp, he says. Like that. So that just means then that there's lots of wire in the crimp, so when you crimp it down it's really going to be holding tight. So I pull that down, so it's like this, and then I pull back. So there we are, ready to be crimped. Grab your crimping pliers, put it in, and give it a good squeeze. That hook is now on there, and you need a hell of a lot of pulling to take it off again. So we now know no pike's going to get that off. Now I've cut cut my wire to approximately, well, almost 2 feet long here. So the end result is that your trace will be a foot to 18 inches long, something like that. Then it's a happy length that you're not going to be getting bite-offs. So the next thing to do is go to the opposite end of the wire to your treble, get your other treble, and we thread that on. Now we need to think about what size bait we're going to be using. If you're going to be using small baits like small roach or a smelt or something like that, then you're not going to want your trebles very far apart. If you're using bigger baits like eel, lamprey, whole mackerels, blueies, things like that, then you're going to want them a bit further apart. So I think if we're making a sort of a big roach rig or something like that, then generally what I do is I take my hand, I put the bottom treble on it like that, the top treble somewhere near the top of it like that, and I think that's about a good size. So, with the wire coming out of it like this, we then take this end of the wire and we go underneath one of the hooks, like so. You then wrap this wire around the shank of the hook, and we want to do that 5 or 6 times, or until you're bored. So it's now wrapped around the shank of the hook. Then take the tag end and thread it back through the eye of the treble, and then slowly draw it tight. There we go. Now you've got two hooks on the wire, and that's not going anywhere. Now at the other end, you now want to get another crimp, thread it onto your wire, size 8 swivel, that gets threaded on, and then the tag end of the wire once again goes back through the crimp, and then just through the crimp again, because I like it like that. Pull that down tight, and pull that tight as well. All that's left to do is get your crimping pliers, and we crimp the swivel on. Now we've made your trace with wire, 2 trebles, and this is what used to be called a snap tackle. That is the rig that everyone, or most people who go fishing, for 99% of their pike fishing, they'll use a trace like that. Simple.